What's up, everybody? Welcome to Devin the Bear. Today we're going to talk about UFC Dern Vs Hill, the results from that pay-per-view. That's not a pay-per-view. I don't know why I said that. Even in my head, I knew that was wrong.
Good thing it wasn't. No, I'm just kidding. I actually enjoyed watching some of these fights on this card.
Yeah, I think this entire card, for the most part, I think was a card for a lot of prospects. And I think it was a lot of prospects who are finding themselves.
Yeah.
They're either having to go back to the drawing board and find themselves, or they're having to find themselves because they're facing tougher competition. And we saw a lot of those matchups. So like we saw Chase Hooper and Nick Fiore. That fight was pretty solid.
Yeah.
Chase Hooper has to go back to the drawing board and kind of fix himself. Nick Fiore's coming up. He had to fix himself, or not fix himself, but kind of get ready for someone like Chase Hooper. And we saw who came out on top of that, and that's Chase Hooper. And then you had Carolina Kowalkiewicz take on Vanessa Demopoulos. That was a really cool fight because Carolina, same thing. She's had to go back to the drawing board and kind of reinvent herself or fix what mistakes she feels she had. And then Demopoulos is new, and I think she was on a 3 or 4 fight winning streak.
Something like that. She's been on a really good win streak, man, and she's really pieced things together, She's been really fun to watch as well, too. So a lot of hype behind her.
She was the up and coming prospect in this one, and didn't quite work out for her.
Yeah, Carolina's had this really cool resurgence though. I mean, she was like about to retire, and then she's on like a 3-fight win streak.
And that's what I'm saying. It's all these people who are either prospects now or they were, and they're having to come back.
Yeah.
It's weird to think of Chase Hooper as someone who's having to come back, but he kind of is. He started having issues.
Yeah, he's having those issues, but I think this fight was also a lightweight, so I think that helped him out a little bit. But I'm just kind of waiting for him to be able to round out those skills, though.
Yeah, I'm hoping he gets there.
Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to see what he can do as well. And then some more people that are having resurgences, kind of like Carlos Diego Ferreira or Diego Ferreira.
Don't skip Santaslav.
Did I skip somebody? Oh shit.
Vyashlev Borshev, Santaslav.
I'm happy you
can't skip him.
Sorry.
He's so fun. He's coming off a loss, I think.
Was it against DAK?
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
That's when he showcased his wrestling out of nowhere.
Yeah.
For a really lame fight.
Fucking asshole.
But yeah, he had to go back, and he was the big rising up and comer, and he had to go back and kind of fix some issues he was having, and he came out on top with a really nice TKO.
Yeah, there's something to look forward to.
But yes, Carlos Diego Ferreira came out and fought Michael Johnson again. 2 guys who were both big names, prospects at one point, and now they're kind of having to become prospects again because they're always going to be relevant when they're fighting, but they've struggled. They've had some issues, and they went back to the drawing board.
Yeah,
I think Michael Johnson's been looking good, and I think Diego came in and looked good. Obviously, he looked better.
Yeah. Dude, that knockout was rough, man. Like when it happened, and then they were talking about like you could hear Michael Johnson like snoring. He hit him so freaking hard, dude. Like if you go back and like watch it and put some headphones on, you can hear him trying to like breathe because his breathing's contracting because he got hit so freaking hard. But like I've noticed like Michael Johnson's like became known on social media for anybody that keeps up with like MMA TikToks or anything like that or reels or on Instagram, and for being known as the best worst fighter of all time because like his record is crazy, dude. You see, he has a win over Tony Ferguson. He was the last person to beat Tony Ferguson before that 12-fight win streak. I believe he was. Correct me if I'm wrong, please. And then he also beat Dustin Poirier. But then he was listening to like a bunch of random dudes, and it's like
what Clay Guida.
Yeah, I mean, and Clay Guida hasn't been on the top of the division since like 2009, 2010, and it's just crazy as shit to see. But I mean, Diego Ferreira was really putting it together. Trains out of Texas, which I think is really freaking cool. But yeah, man, it was just
Is he the one that drives like 9 hours? Yeah.
So I think he stays in Corpus and then drives up to Far Texas for his gym, and so maybe he made a move or something.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I can't believe he drives that far either, man. And he trains like 3 days out of the week.
I hope he made a move.
Man, dude, I wish I could train 3 days a week and be like that, No, I'm just kidding. That sounds terrible. Driving 9 hours to the gym. But also, Joaquin Buckley making his welterweight debut in the UFC. So he had fought welterweight previously. And we've always talked about, I know I've really reiterated how much I wanted to see him at welterweight. because
Yeah.
he's a very small middleweight, but he has the power for it. You know, Andre Fiallo was looking to come back and get a win, and after his loss to Jake Matthews, and so he's coming back, but it just seemed that Joaquin's style, like he didn't really have to change a lot, but he was able to like implement his fighting style really well and really
I
fast.
think that's going to be the big difference for him at welterweight
Yeah,
is at middleweight he had to implement his style, which was be aggressive,
yeah,
and it's harder to do that when you're the smaller guy. You can be in people's face all you want, but when they can use a long guard or just take you down or jab
yeah,
because they're bigger than you, it's basically play big brother.
yeah.
It makes it really hard. So I think he's going to have a lot of success at welterweight till he runs into Kevin Holland again. I'm curious about how that's going to go because I feel like it's going to happen.
Like father, like son, right? But yeah, dude. I was actually when we were talking about, I was like, man, he might have to fight Kevin Holland again. Which just like with Joaquin style though, he does have a lot of explosiveness. It's never really like, except when he fought. Who was it? He fought Abdul Rakhazan. And
Razak Abdul
yeah,
Hassan.
that guy, yeah, the dude. And he kept taking him down and shit, and he couldn't do anything. But that was what I remember the most about that entire fight was his call out after to Joaquin Buckley. Do you remember you sent that shit to me?
Mm-mm.
No, he's like when you see Buckley, tell him he's a pussy, tell him he's a bitch, like super pissed off, just in his
Well,
accent. So
did you see Buckley's call out? No?
no.
Okay. Well, you'll need to go look it up.
Oh Jesus.
Can't say it on here.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny. He had anyway. Yeah, we had Lupita Godinez defeat Emily Ducote, and I feel like that was a very technical fight. Both people are really good technical strikers, so I think they were about the same point in their careers, same point in the maybe not in the rankings. I don't know where they're ranked, but I know that they are, I think, as good as each other. So
Right.
I'd like to see them rematch at some point. Emily's got a ways to go, obviously, but co-main event was Anthony Fluffy Hernandez taking on Edmund Shabazian. I think on verdict, I picked Edmund to win by like submission or something. Or no, maybe I did pick Hernandez, but I just expected the most points out of that because I was not surprised that Anthony Hernandez won that fight.
He just has a grit to him that I
Yeah.
feel like Edmund doesn't have, and it's not a knock on Edmund, but it's just he's like a freaking what's his name fucking Fluffy Hernandez just is able to really show that he's as good as like this a lot of these guys he fights. It's just everyone counts him out, you know.
He's hard to keep up with.
Yeah,
Like the way that he fights, it's not necessarily a crazy fast pace or anything. It's just constantly working, constantly getting hitting back. Something has to be happening in his fights, so I think that's really fun. It's always good to watch.
yeah. Who's Edmund Shabazian training with now? I know he switched camps. He's not with Edmund Tarvardian anymore. So I don't know.
Extreme Couture.
Oh, he's at Extreme Couture. So I wonder if he's training with Coach Nick Sick.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I assume so. But coach, that dude's a great coach though. He worked with Francis a lot. Really helped Francis become who he was, leading into his second run to the title. You know. And so, did you happen to catch the main event?
I know I was at work when I was watching them, and I think with that one I watched most of it. I don't think I got to see the last couple rounds.
Yeah, I don't know. I missed it honestly. So
Well, from what I saw, it was Mackenzie Dern stepped it up.
yeah,
I don't think that at any point Angela Hill was out of the fight. Dern seemed to be a step ahead of her.
yeah,
I don't know if that's from just having higher level fights than Angela Hill over the last couple of years.
right.
So she may be a bit more prepared for the fights going into the future, but good on her.
Yeah.
To show that she can do something other than submissions.
Yeah, I mean, I guess for a while she had been kind of like getting comfortable with her hands, but it wasn't like the best technical striking. And so, but from like me looking at the scorecards, it's like I assume it was a very one-sided fight. Also, like in the sense of just like you knew who there was a clear winner each round.
I mean, you know me. Whenever I say someone wasn't out of a fight, it's because I feel like a lot of people were like, "Bro, that was a cakewalk for her," and it's like, no, Angela Hill was there the whole time.
Yeah.
She's not like she was ever hurt or faded. She just was trying to keep up and find her footing and never could.
Yeah.
But it's like all it takes is one hit to change everything. So,
yeah,
and
pace of the fight.
I think she was mentally there the whole fight. So she could have gotten that change of momentum, but it just never happened. Yeah, and then the next couple weeks we have Kaikara France taking on, I'm forgetting his Jay Albazi?
He's taking on Amir Albazi.
Amir. I forget who I'm thinking of. But Amir Albazi. I know who he is, I promise. Fingers crossed. That's going to be a really fun card, I think. It's not the most recognizable list of names if you're a casual fan, but tune into that one. That one's going to be really fun. That main event is going to be really fun.
Yeah, I like watching any Kaikara France fights. Yeah. And you got Amir Albazi. He's on the come up right now.
If he gets it to the ground, that's his best chance. I think he'll stand and strike with Cara France though.
Yeah, his last win was by knockout. I mean, the guy's right now he's on a 4-fight win streak in the UFC. 5-fight win streak before of them are in the UFC since he came in. 3 of them by finish. You know, you can't ask for nothing more exciting than that. Kaikara France. I mean, they call him "Don't Blink" for a reason.
Yeah.
So we seen what he's able to do. You also got Alex Caceres. How do I not know this fucking
Alex Caceres?
Yeah, I do. It's because I want to call him Bruce Leroy because like from watching The Ultimate Fighter and shit. So it's like, did you see Calvin Cater was like, I thought his name was Bruce Leroy this whole time, and so that's literally how I feel right now. He's taking on Daniel Pineda, which I'm excited for. Daniel Pineda's he's a Texas boy. He's from Dallas. He trains in Houston over at 4 Ounce Fight Club, which I think is exciting.
I've never been a fan of Alex Caceres.
Really?
So he's good.
Yeah.
He's fun. I just don't like him.
He does have a certain attitude. He used to have a certain attitude to him. And
so, it's not that I don't like him as a person. I just don't like watching him fight.
Yeah. Yeah. Really?
Not that I don't think he's boring or anything. For me, he's just one of those guys I want to see him lose. I don't know what it is. I want to see him lose.
I see where you're coming from though, because that's how I felt whenever what was that dude's name that came into the UFC? I know what's his name fought him. Dustin Poirier fought him back in the day, but he was on the same exact season as Bruce Leroy. But this dude, he wasn't on the same season actually.
I was gonna say Josh Crispy.
No, it wasn't Josh Crispy. Oh, Akira Kurosani.
Oh, you didn't like him?
I could not stand him, but he was so much fun to watch fight.
He's very fun to watch.
Yeah, he didn't give a fuck, dude.
And Dustin Poirier knocked him out.
Yeah, he did. It was like I couldn't look away when this dude would fight. It was just like, oh man, like this dude's gonna fucking throw down. It was so much fun though. And then I mean, you got who else? You got Jim Miller and Jared Gordon.
Jim Miller. Is that Jared Gordon?
Yeah. So I think it's a very quick turnaround for Jared Gordon, who just got knocked out back in April. Yeah. So I don't really care for that fight just because of that sole purpose. I like Jared Gordon. He's got a cool story that I'm sure you've heard John Anik talk about because he likes to throw people's personal business out there sometimes. But it's like I think especially after the Patty fight, it's like if you really like to watch fights, like I mean Jared Gordon's really fun to watch as well. You know, he's just a fighter's fighter kind of guy. He's just a little under the radar though.
Was it always Jared Gordon?
No, it was not. I'm trying to remember who was supposed to fill in for him.
Ludovic Klein?
Yeah.
Oh, see, I was excited for that. Ludovic Klein and Jim Miller, that would have been fun.
The reason why I wasn't was just because I'm like, I want Jim Miller to be as healthy as he can until he makes it to UFC 300.
Yeah.
So I'm like, shit, but I mean...
Jared Gordon's probably going to take him down.
I don't think it's a good idea.
No, but he's probably going to do it.
He is training with Jared Gordon, though.
Jared Gordon's training with Jared Gordon?
Fucking Gordon Ryan, yeah. So, yeah, there's that. He's training with himself, and so that's why he's an absolute killer on the ground.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how that helps you with Jim Miller, Jared. Maybe don't train in front of Amir 24/7. I don't know, man. It's weird.
Then Felipe Lin's taking on Maxim Grishin.
That's a fun fight.
I figured you'd be excited for that one.
Yeah.
Andre Arlovsky taking on Dante Mills.
I want to be excited for that fight, but if Arlovsky, it's cool that he's a technical striker now.
Yeah.
I'm glad to see him go in there and get wins, but it's like every time you string a couple together, you get a loss. You're gonna retire soon. Knock some people out.
Go for it.
Grow your hair back out.
Yeah. He still wears a mouthpiece and everything.
Yeah.
It's like he hasn't
go
lost
crazy.
his edge.
Just go crazy.
So I mean, you let the dog out, man. You
Yeah.
know?
He used to have that freaking walkout with the sirens and the dogs barking. You remember that? That was cool.
Yeah.
That was cool, man. He was one of my first like favorite fighters.
He's like if you think about like a peak mid 2000s fighter, that's exactly what you would imagine somebody like Andre Arlovsky though.
Yeah.
So yeah, he had the highlights, the frosted tips, all that shit.
Good
Fucking,
times,
it was
man.
great times.
When he
Yeah.
when he fought in Pride and he jumped into Fedor,
Oh, and he got
got knocked out
out.
real bad.
Yeah, great times. He face planted right after.
Yeah.
I was like, Jesus Christ! Like I don't know why he threw the fly. I think one of his coaches told him to throw the flying knee, even though Fedor just kept throwing overhand rights.
Yeah, I don't know why you would throw a flying knee at Fedor. I wouldn't think Fedor is going to go in there and try to take you down real fast.
Dude, I swear, I think I was seeing like a top 10 biggest MMA mistakes, biggest mistakes in the fights, and one of them was that situation.
It has to be.
Yeah,
because like what do you have to worry about Fedor ducking down with?
Yeah.
Other than I guess an overhand right, but he's not going down that low with it.
No, I mean he got some good airtime on that shit. But
yeah, but
Fedor's
don't do that,
gorilla, dude. Yeah, don't do that. But I don't know, man. That knockout was crazy though. And then he got then Rumble Johnson broke his jaw. Remember that? Crazy,
freaking
dude.
Rumble Johnson, man.
Yeah, I miss that guy.
Started off as a freaking welterweight.
Yeah, like I was thinking about that dude the other day. Like I was like, damn, like he had one fight in Bellator, and I was always excited to watch that dude fight. And then
Sad.
times.
Anyway, well, let's not end this on a sad note.
No.
Can't think of anything happy.
Carlos Nava fights this Saturday.
Oh hey, yeah, Carlos Nava. Was it March 27th?
Yes, May.
May?
Yeah.
What month is it? It's May 27th. I'm sad now.
I'm all sad. Like to that too.
But yeah, Carlos Nava has his fight looking for the 10-0. Like we've been waiting for this for a long time.
Yeah.
And we're finally gonna get it. Blanking on where it is. It's in Pennsylvania, I think.
He's fighting in Philly.
Philly?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's in Pennsylvania.
So any yeah. So, but like Phil, I was thinking about that shit from Always Sunny. He's like, Philadelphia is his own state, right?
Oh yeah. They're like, no. But yeah, Carlos Nava has a fight coming up. That's UFC Dern versus Hill, and then we have the upcoming Cara France versus Albasi. Let us know your thoughts. That was an interesting episode we just had. My mind wanders.